This is Eric Rutan of Cannibal Corpse. You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast with Andrew McKay Smith.
G'day everybody, thanks very much for joining me. I've got a conversation with Trevor Peres from Obituary to share with you. Now, the catalyst for our chat was due to an Australian tour which occurred in January of 2020, which means the conversation is a legacy. It's been available on podcast apps for some time now, indeed since December 2019, but here it is on YouTube for your listening pleasure. Throughout this chat, we talk about Trevor's impact on mid-paced death metal. He practically invented it, given his guitar stylings, his use of Stratocaster guitars, and his friendship with the late, great Ralph Santolla, amongst many other topics, all worthy. So here he is, Trevor Peres from Obituary. I'm sure you're aware, mate, but there's a lot of noise around this tour. It's virtually, I wouldn't say completely sold out because I don't want to misrepresent, but it's pretty bloody close to it. And I think it's such a great advertisement for the wonderful work that you specifically have been doing in the death metal workshop, as I like to call it. I had a chat to Lee Harrison. I had a chat to Lee Harrison from Monstrosity recently, and I said, mate, you tinker away in that death metal workshop. You keep going.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
You know, and you've been doing it for 35 years, brother. And I just want to thank you so much for doing that, because for people like myself, your music and your guitar playing, because I'm a musician, has been so inspirational. So, mate, what can
thank you.
Mate, I know you're playing Cause of Death, but, mate, you've got so many fantastic albums. So what can you tell us about these shows in Australia?
Well, obviously we're playing the Cause of Death album, but it's not going to be just that, because that would be 32 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I forgot how long the album is. I think it's 28 minutes, maybe. I don't know. But,
yep.
No, we're obviously going to play that front to back, and we're going to play some other classics from that time frame as well, and sprinkle in a few newer tunes that we've got that would fit well. So, yeah, we're definitely not just playing only Cause of Death. So there'll be a little bit of stuff from our whole history. So.
Sweet, yeah, mate. Can you believe that? Of course, you've made a career out of it, but it's a 35-year career at this point. You know, I mean, you are a successful band. You're effectively a classic band at this point in time. You know, when we were growing up and we were thinking of Canned Heat and Led Zepp and Skinned and that stuff, mate, in my view, you have joined that pantheon. So, mate, can you attribute your success to anything specifically? Can you tell me why you think the band has been so successful?
I don't know. I guess luck. I don't know. I get, at the time, I guess when we first started, this style in general wasn't popular at all, really. I mean, there was just a handful of bands playing like extreme music at the time, I guess, is part of it. And, like I went to a high school with like 2,000 students, and I think there was 8 of us that listened to extreme music,
Yes.
back then.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Like I said, a lot of it probably possibly luck and good competition around our area as well. Bands all striving to create something unique and heavy, and I don't know. It's crazy. I can't really pinpoint it. I'm fucking grateful for it. It's fucking amazing that people still love it, and we never broke the formula as well. I think
Indeed, yeah.
Some people, some bands like to experiment a lot, and we've experimented a little tiny bit here and there throughout, but nothing really off the beaten path. It's always kind of been right in our little gamut of style that people love, and what I like to do. I mean, musically, as far as what we create, we do that because we love it. The style we do is just, it's fun, and try to make something really heavy and makes your hair on your arm stand up, I
agree, mate, yeah. I'll tell you this story quickly. I met my wife about 14 years ago or so, and she's right into R&B like Beyonce and Neo and all that bullshit. And one of the first things that I did when she came back to my place, you'll love this is when YouTube first came out. I put on the video to I Don't Care, and I just watched her reaction because I wanted to see whether or not she's a keeper or not. But she goes, actually, there's a lot to like in this, like it's got a good groove, it's got some good riffs, or, what she termed to be riffs in there, mate. So what I think about your music, mate, is that even though it's heavy, it is extreme metal. There's a universal quality to it. So if you're just a passive observer on heavy music, Obituary was generally the band out of the big four: Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse, Deicide. Or Obituary was the band that, generally speaking, the regular person could get into. Have you ever had that feedback before?
Yeah, I think so, for sure. Like my grandmother, who, God bless her heart, she's been dead for years now, but like I remember years ago, I was playing, I think, Cause of Death maybe, and she was like, she loved bluegrass and country music was her forte, big time, And like my grandpa played bluegrass, but she's like, obviously, she goes, I can't tell what your singer's doing at all, obviously. She goes, man, the music, she goes, I can dance to that. She could feel the rhythm and the beat, and she's an old timer, so from her, I remember getting that reaction just from my grandmother, and I was like, okay, cool, you can feel it. And I've had other people throughout the years, same thing, kind of like, I don't even listen to metal at all, but I can feel the rhythm, there's definitely a rhythmic thing going on.
Absolutely.
Catchy,
Yeah, and I think, look, I'm a guitarist and bass player, and I've really admired your guitar playing over the years, I've got to say. Your guitar playing specifically is the template. It's the foundation on which Obituary have built a career, in my view. And when I think of underrated guitarists who have contributed so much, there's basically yourself and Vito Bratta from White Lion that the average person might not know the name of, but you know what I'm saying, don't you? Really accomplished guitarist who's got a really distinct sound, who, as soon as I hear the opening chords to almost any Obituary song, I know it's you. I don't need to know it's Obituary, so I can just tell it's you. But Trevor, I've got to tell you, mate, you practically invented mid-paced death metal. So do you get a lot of feedback from guitarists like myself who talk to you about the influence that you've had over them?
Oh yeah, it happens. Yeah, big time. Yeah, like you said, obviously I'm not a household name when it comes to guitar players at all, in general. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of people that say the same kind of thing. Like, obviously, for Obituary or for this style, people know my sound when I hit that chord the first time around. In fact, years ago, I think like in 2000, I had a side band project I made called Catastrophic.
Yeah.
And I was touring. I was in tour in Europe, and with about 6 bands, and we were like one of the middle bands in the tour. And Dying Fetus was on the tour, who I was friends with. But that day, I was doing sound check in the venue, and the buses were parked right next to the venue. And I was done, and I came back into the bus, and I was sharing buses with Dying Fetus and John, their singer. Guitar player. He was crawling out of his bunk, wiping his eyes clear, and he said, "Hey man, what's going on?" And I was like, "I'm just finished sound check." He goes, "I know." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Dude, I heard your guitar." I goes, "Oh, that's Trevor in there playing. I can tell." He goes, "It woke me up." He goes, "It's time for it," because his sound check was out of the way. He goes, "I knew that was you in there playing. I could hear it." It was pretty funny.
Well, and the other thing too. You're right. You go.
I was gonna say that tour, like probably the first time, because it was like 2000, and it was after Obituary had split up for a while, was probably the first realization that our band had influenced a lot of people too, because we were with some younger bands, and people were like, and I was like I was on that tour. I was the oldest dude on the tour in general as far as artists go, musicians, and people were, always telling me about it during that whole tour. It kind of made me nervous sometimes. I was like, are they just blowing steam up my ass? Because I didn't know. I mean, didn't realize we had influenced people that much at that point, and then I started realizing it then. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I think the other way that you've influenced people is that look, I play Strats as well, and I know you're a big Strat user, and I never felt that you needed to use a guitar that looked like a bloody medieval weapon to play choice extreme metal like you do. So can you tell me why you use Strats? Is there a technical reason why you've gone that direction?
I guess, well, when I was young, I loved Iron Maiden when I was a kid, and Jimi Hendrix, and other players that play Strats, and I guess that's part of the reason. And and also a local band, Nasty Savage, David Austin played a Strat
nice.
in Tampa, Brandon area. And I remember the first time playing one, I was like, man, it felt like a really good guitar, just like you could sit down with it, you could put it in your lap, it didn't fall over because it was a V or a fucking Warlock or, and you could hold it in your lap and play it, and it felt like a quality guitar, and the sound was versatile. I could make it sound like I needed it to sound, and it always felt good. And ever since then, I was like, I love this guitar, and fuck it, I'm gonna stick with the Strat. And lo and behold, years later, there's still not many people playing them in death metal. But
no, it's crazy. Yeah.
But there's been a few people that play them, that have told me they play them because of me, which is cool. I was like, well, call up Fender and let them know.
Yeah, well, that was what I was thinking, mate. Has Fender ever approached you to honour you for your use of them? Because really, I mean, they bloody well should, in my view. I mean, you've influenced a lot of people to pick up Strats and play extreme metal.
Yeah, I actually do have an endorsement. It's not they've given me a couple guitars. Mostly it's, they sell me stuff at cost, which is cool. So it's more than 50% off. Like, I think the last Strat I got, they charged me like 30% of the list. So that was cool.
Shit, yeah.
So I got a deal with them. They don't really, I would like to do a signature one, which would be really simple, basic guitar. It wouldn't have anything but a humbucker on it and a Floyd with a volume. That would be it. And the tone would be off. Yeah. It would be simple. No fret markers, black ebony fretboard and probably a matte finish black. But I guess I'm not popular enough for them to justify creating a signature for me.
Yeah, well, have you ever been approached by like a cottage builder, so to speak, or a builder who, that seems to be all the rage these days, doesn't it? For a luthier to approach like Dino in Fear Factory or somebody like that. And I know there's a guy in Perth that's doing it at the moment. So you must get hit up a lot by luthiers wanting to craft things for you.
Yeah, I've gotten a couple. I've actually got a couple. Dude, Grossman Guitars. He's from Romania. He built me a guitar, which is a beautiful guitar. It's amazing. I got to customize. I did like a neck through, one piece. And another guy in Sardinia, Italy, actually.
Oh yeah, nice.
He was a young kid who frickin' is amazing. Like, he does his hand work. He can build a freaking acoustic guitar. This guy's amazing. And daily, people bring the violins to him and he repairs them. He does all kind of shit like that. He built me a really sick neck through. We even did like the nut. We put a Floyd in the nut. I got the widest nut Floyd makes, which is around about 1/8 of an inch, which is about close to 3 millimeters wider than a standard Strat nut area, the nut width. So that's killer because my hands are kind of big, so it's nice. It's nice and comfy up there when you're up top.
Yep.
You don't have to. It's easier for me to stretch my fingers out bigger,
Yeah,
kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Guitar.
And I'll ask you a question about Ralph Santolla, if that's okay, because I actually got to know him. I wouldn't say well, but I had a few conversations with him, and I rate his guitar playing very highly. I actually think that he reinvigorated Deicide's career when he joined them, and then when he left Deicide, went to you guys, and I've got on vinyl, I've got Xecutioner's Return, and I can't bloody find Darkest Day anywhere. I'm searching high and low for it to try and get a copy of that. But can you tell me any Ralph stories? Have you got any? Because I know he was a bit of a cack to be around.
Which one of the 4 billion that I have?
You choose one.
God, man, he was my brother. Like, we had the greatest time together in general, like together on tour and even off tour. He'd come over and stay at my house for the weekend. And hell, in fact, my wife's from Sardinia. That's how I met the other guitar dude who made the Sardinian guitar. But I was one time he came to Sardinia for a week with me. Hold on a second. Is it on? It should be on the. Hold on, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It might be on the table up there. There's a charger, everything in it. Sorry, my merch guy. We're doing a show tonight. I was looking for our credit card processing little device. Anyway,
gotcha.
But yeah, like like he came to Sardinia with me for a week one time, and everybody in that town that I'm friends with fell in love with him, and everybody was obviously crushed when he passed. I couldn't believe it. But I mean, there's so many things that we did together, like going fishing and obviously drinking and raising hell. It was always a good time. It's funny too, because Ralph, he was a party animal, crazy, eccentric, manic, depressive, psychotic motherfucker, and the sweetest heart at the same time, and loved really good food, and whatever it was, he liked to indulge on everything from food to drugs to alcohol. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He
that's
led a
why
life.
He's still not here.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a shame. I actually got to talk to Bill Hudson, who you think is one of his best friends, or was his best friend. And, we talked in some detail about his friendship with him. And, it's... Look, yeah, I mean, it was truly a shock for me. I just say I wasn't mates with him in the way that you were or Bill was, but I knew him well enough, and it was truly a shock to see that when he did that Facebook post when he was going into hospital, I just thought he'd come out, but then a week later he was gone. And I really felt we as extreme music fans lost one of our heroes through that process, and I just try to spread the word, mate, about his contribution. Anybody who doubts his ability, mate, I just show them Xecutioner's Return and Homage for Satan. You know that it's two probably the best albums he's on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can't question what he did on lead. He was just an incredible guitar player. In fact, I think maybe. Was it the first one we did with him? One of those albums we did with him. I remember him. He did some crazy ass shit. He goes. I made that shit. He goes to where, no one can play it. He goes, except me. You know what I mean? Like,
he did it on purpose.
Obviously jokingly. Yeah, he's like, but you have to keep me now forever because no one else is gonna be able to play that shit.
Jesus, yeah.
He was a comedian, big time.
Yeah. Said he was, yeah. Mate, I think I've got to wrap things up. Have you got another phone call coming through after me?
No, we got this meet and greet, though, here in a few minutes.
All right, no worries. Well, I'll make this
5 p.m., yeah.
I'll make this my last question, brother. Australia, mate, have you had a good relationship with us over the years? Have we been a good territory for Obituary?
Oh, my God, dude. Put it this way. Just in general, like, if anybody brings up Australia, not even about me playing shows or just Australia in general, the people from Australia. I'll fucking have loved the people from Australia, like just as a general population, like not even. I mean, in general, not even metal fans, just people that I meet from Australia, the coolest people in the world. It's like I always get along with everybody from Australia. I don't know what it is. It's like we must have shared blood or something. It's crazy. Always have the greatest time down there. The shows are always killer, of course, and the fans are just amazing. Just the people, though, like I said. I remember I toured. This is when I had Catastrophic, actually. I think it was the fourth. It might have been, was it that same tour? I can't remember. It's all a blur at this point. All these tours I've done.
Yep.
But we were on tour with Destroyer 666 was with us.
Nice.
It might have been the same damn tour because it was like 7 or 8 bands on that tour. And they were on it. And it might have been with Fetus as well, the same tour. But, we hit it off, man. We were fucking hanging out every night, fucking throwing down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was about 70 people on the tour, and I was hanging with those guys more than anybody, probably. We were like,
that's cool, dude. Yeah.
We were cut from the same cloth.
Well, I like to say, mate, that what I notice is, mate, Florida isn't... Because I'm at uni, right, and I'm with a lot of students from the States, and some of them are from Florida, and they're very similar to Australians. Right. So I think Floridians and Australians, mate, there must be some sort of shared heritage there.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be. I mean, it totally... It is. Well, we always say we're kind of like the Australia of North America because we got the craziest venomous snakes and fucking alligators. Hell, we even got crocs. We're the only place in the northern hemisphere that has crocs in the whole planet. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And obviously, it's just a wild land, so we're definitely sharing some fucking something.
Cool, mate. Well, look,
and we got sharks and the whole thing.
You got the whole thing, yeah. You got the whole thing, and the weather's virtually the same as well. Especially the coastal weather.
Oh, yeah, big time.
So...
Yeah.
Cool, mate. All right, well, look, I better let you get to this next thing that you got going on. And look, just thank you for doing what you're doing, mate. I meant what I said earlier about tinkering away in the death metal workshop. People like yourself and Lee Harrison, mate, just thank God for you. You know, because you give so much.
Appreciate it.
You make our lives, mate. It just makes it's a little bit easier because we can listen to Obituary. You know what I mean? So thank you for doing that.
Fucking hey, man. Awesome. I appreciate it.
No worries, brother. All right, well, good luck with everything.
All right. Thank you, man.
Thanks, mate.
We'll see you soon.
Absolutely. I'll be there for sure. No worries.
All right.
Gotcha.
Cheers.
Well, that's it. Done and dusted. Another episode. That one featuring Trevor Peres from Obituary. Hope you enjoyed that one, because if you did, you're in luck. There's plenty more just like it over at scarsandguitars.com. And I know you like reading because you're a smart audience. You're a smart person. If you listen this far, you're incredibly intelligent, it must be said, which means that you love books. And you're in luck on that front, because I have written one. Click on the link in the banner on my website, and you'll be taken to a marketplace of your choice. You know what to do from there. There's some more information to share with you about the book, but before we get to that, I'll bid you a fond farewell. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and I'm the host of the Scars and Guitars podcast. Until next time, it's a very goodbye for now.
This is Eric Rattan of Cannibal Corpse. You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast with Andrew Mackay-Smith.
I've been the host of the Scars and Guitars podcast since 2017. The first musician I interviewed for the show was David Vincent from Morbid Angel, and things have just snowballed from there. In all, I've posted almost 650 podcast episodes featuring conversations with many of the leading lights of rock, heavy metal, and beyond. It just got to a point where I thought, I need to write a book about all this, so that's exactly what I did. In Scars and Guitars Volume 1, you'll read a heap of deep reveals and commentary, such as Des Fafara talking about Coal Chamber and why the band will never return.
You know, if you're a band just starting out, you need to hear me. Do not start a band with partners. Ever.
Yeah, wise words, sage advice, mate, for anybody.
Don't ever, because I can't go do Coal Chamber right now unless I get others involved.
Phil Anselmo talks about the episode in his career which gives him the greatest sense of accomplishment.
I think the staying power of the fans and the staying power of the songs, you know, whether it's Pantera, Down, or Superjoint, the fans remember the songs.
Alex Skolnick from Testament confirms that, yes, playing the guitar in Ozzy's band is anything but an ordinary gig. Will Silent Oz from Dimmu Borgir write a book? Pa from Sabaton gives advice to people who want to start a band.
Look at the team around you, look at the bandmates. If the guys want to be on the stage, then it's all cool. If the guys want to be backstage, then it's not going to be cool.
Current and former members of Cradle of Filth discuss the band's seminal 90s material. Read about the reaction to George Lynch and Mark from Suicide Silence's comments when they throw shade at then President Donald Trump.
We have this idiotic monster, you know, this egotistical, self-aggrandizing, complete piece of shit in there. I just can't understand how we've gotten to this place.
And yeah, we kicked a hornet's nest with Sepultura. Percussive overlord Gene Hoglan talks about recording with Chuck Schuldiner.
Chuck was always, he was very open-minded, and he was into having his musicians that were playing with him just reach out for the best stuff that they had.
Phil Campbell from Motorhead discusses what it takes to get sober. John Five answers his critics who dismiss his tenure with Marilyn Manson.
You know, my name is John Five, and Manson gave me that name, and I had some of the best years of my life in that band and learned a lot.
And we get the lowdown on Treyarch Zagtoth from those who would know, including his mother. All across Scars and Guitars Volume 1, there are moments of tension, relief, tragedy, exhilaration, and throughout it all, you'll obtain insight that I believe no one else has managed to obtain from many of your favourite artists. So treat yourself. Scars and Guitars Volume 1 is currently available as an ebook with a print edition on the horizon. Follow the links attached and download a sample. I'm sure you'll be compelled to read the whole book.